Hey guys, and welcome back to Castle Crush, and today I was gonna just play with a deck here. This was really supposed to be a video for like yesterday or like right after the update, but I was playing with a deck that just had all of the cards that had been changed in it, just to kind of see like how they all kind of did and performed. And right there already you can see, by the time I played this, the Enchanter was fixed, for example, so I was getting that increased range out of the Enchanter, which was pretty interesting. Fire Elemental got that HP nerf, but as you could see there, still useful against rushing decks, necromancers, etc. So the Fire Elemental still retains a lot of its utility. Right there, I was still using it against the necromancer, although in that case it didn't quite work out. So for this deck, the Valkyrie was not a card that was changed, but because I put Orc's Horde in here, I decided that Valkyrie might be helpful for getting out that 12 mana card situation. So this match definitely, I mean, this is a tough, like, this kind of random deck here, really tough to play with, but I really made use of the Fire Elemental against these pushes they had going here. I was able to get a ton of value out of those two Fire Elementals I played right there, and that really turned around this match for me. Granted, it's against a level 10 player, so obviously not very impressive, but I was still kind of surprised. It looked like I was going to lose, and then somehow those Fire Elementals completely flipped the tide of that fight. So still a pretty good card, despite the nerf it got. The Enchanter I found to be fun, but at the same time, I'm not sure what new strategies this is going to unlock for it. I mean, it does push the opponent back pretty far now, so you could use it in any deck where you're using Gust of Wind a lot. You could now add Enchanter potentially into that as well, like a very defensive deck. Maybe you could put Enchanter in, since, you know, it's kind of like a cheap version of Gust of Wind now. Well, man, Gust of Wind is cheaper, but you know what I mean. Like, it's like a worse Gust of Wind, but it's much closer to it now after the it changes to the Enchanter. So, and obviously it's still useful for like catapult decks, but not, the change doesn't really affect like the catapult deck idea a lot, because the catapults are usually already at the middle of the map, so the extra push range doesn't really get applied that well, since you can only push them back as far as the castle. So yeah, I was trying to really get to the end. Like, the key with this deck, not that this is really a deck, it was more me just experimenting with cards, but the key with this one was really to get to the Orc's Horde, and then once I get to the Orc's Horde, against a lot of, you know, anyone running anything a little not so meta, I could kind of push through them. The people who were running more like meta rush decks and stuff just crushed me, basically. But that was to be expected. This was more about just kind of seeing how the cards were doing. Lots of people using orcs. Lots of people attempting to use orcs now. And they seem pretty tanky. They seem pretty strong. So I think we'll see a lot more orcs getting used. The orc warrior, that is. And Fire Elementals still, again, like, they still do their thing. So, I don't think this is going to get rid of the Fire Elemental either. Skeleton's Legion, I didn't really fully get to, I mean, I'm not sure if it's been fixed yet at this point or not. I think there was still some issues with Skeleton's Legion that were being fixed when I played these matches, so didn't have the best chance to test that one out. Dryad seemed okay. I mean, its change was kind of small in terms of percentage, so I feel like that was more for specific situations, perhaps. But I did like the Orc's ability to go more one-on-one against things now. Dryad still didn't really feel like a card I would use. I don't know what other people's opinions on that are. Yeah, this match I got totally smashed by a rushing deck. Kind of expected because, well, I'm not really playing with much of a deck. So it makes sense that the actually good strategies would get me. I thought about using Fire Elemental here, but it was too late. That was like the one card I had that was actually kind of useful against any sort of meta strategy like that. And then someone came at me with a, wasn't this a Skull Queen deck? No, maybe not. Yeah, I think this match was missing the audio too. I had a problem, so I had to re-record a lot of it, but I kept this match for some reason. Just because, well, it showed right there, you could see the full range of the Enchanter. It is somewhat increased. And the Orc doing reasonably well right there. You can see it going one-on-one. Not one-on-one, but it was going against that Spectre. Sorry, the screen looks kind of weird. I had to re-record this whole part, except for this one match, because there was some issue with my connection cable, and the audio was all messed up. The video was kind of messed up too. So, yeah, that was kind of frustrating. But it was, you know, this match was a good example of a lot of the new cards there. Got to see the Enchanter there. Fire Elemental still does its thing. I still prefer Boneyard over Skeleton's Legion, but I haven't really gotten a chance to test the full ability yet, I feel like. This person might have recognized me, because they seem to constantly be doing that genie face, but unfortunately I really didn't have a whole lot for this. I was kind of done in that one, just because of the Storm Elemental. So, yeah, struggling against rushing decks, but partly because this deck is, you know, it's mana top heavy. So the times where I won tended to be where I got to the Orc's Horde. So, last match here, there's only so long I can really play with this deck without being annoyed with it, because it's not really a deck. It was just me wanting to see, I want to get a feel for all the cards, and just kind of feel how they felt to play with. Orc's Horde obviously feels the same, it just feels more mana costly, but maybe that won't deter some people. For the right types of decks, might not be that much of an issue at all. Enchanter's fun. You can definitely troll people with Enchanter now. It's got a really far range there. As you can see, I just sent that Mud Elemental all the way back to where it came from. And this one, just a weird situation, but was battling back and forth with this person. They seem to also be running Orc's Horde, I think. The Dryads were putting in work, but honestly, they still didn't feel like great one-on-one against a lot of stuff, but it could just be because I don't know. Yeah, a little late on that Fire Elemental. Yeah, so some interesting changes, but I don't feel like, for the most part, it didn't really feel like any of these cards got super ultra changed in some extremely OP way or crazy way. Hopefully the game is just more balanced now. But Orc's Horde is still pretty good. Just that one mana cost to deter it. So what do you guys think? How playable are some of these cards? Are they all pretty playable now? I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments below. So leave a like if you enjoyed. Let me know what you thought about this video. And I will see you guys in the next video.